Welcome back to your Daily Dose. I'm Robert. I'm with my friend who likes to talk a lot, and I like that she does. This is Maria. We've gone on quite a journey. I hope you've enjoyed these episodes together, talking about Parkinson's and really coming to rebranding Parkinson's. And hopefully at this point, something that we closed the all in with, it was the PMD Alliance was largely about what's next, what's now, how do we engage. So when people hear you and want to know more, where do you direct them to? How do they either get in touch with you, or where do you go, here's how to engage in your own community? What do you do?
Right. Well, I have a couple of websites and they can look me up in that, the parkinsonsdiva.org and defeatparkinsons.com. And although I haven't written much lately because I'm so busy everywhere else, there's a lot of information there that at least start to get them to talk about their different symptoms and kind of know where which direction to go with in treatment. But what I want to say is that there's lots of hope. I've been doing this for 30 plus years, as a doctor, as a patient, and so on, and I've seen a lot of changes. And that always brings me hope because, we've come this far. We have new knowledge scientifically, clinically, and we have so many new medications. Now, this is the part where you need to be active because the doctors can tell you you have Parkinson's, take this drug, go home, call me, in a month or 3 months. But the real challenge is being able to accept it, take it in, embrace it, and make the change within your heart to say, okay, what am I going to do to make sure that I live well or the best I can with this disease? And so you start with that first of all. You have to accept it because if you don't accept it, everybody can give you the cure and you're not going to do it. So you have to believe it and you have to trust your doctor. So find somebody you trust and then start, okay, medications. And be sure to advocate for yourself because there's lots of medications, and as I said, I am the example of it, and not everybody tolerates everything. Thank God we have a lot of choices, so you have to try different things. And unfortunately there's no magic, there's no one for everybody pill combination. Everybody has to try it because everybody's different. So don't be afraid to try and to talk to your doctor. Hey, what about this combination? What about that combination? But I think that doing a little bit of different types of medication has always been the best outcome for me personally and my patients. When I, was doing patients, I had them on multiple medication, low doses, so they really could tolerate it. And they did so much better without all the side effects, without all the fluctuations, and without all this mental issues too. So I think that that really works because our brain is in constant balance. I always think of it as a seesaw. You add more dopamine and guess what, something else comes down, and then
Yeah.
you get the side effects of something else because now you're depressed because you don't have serotonin or you don't have this. So we try to keep it as best we can from our limited knowledge of the brain, try to keep it as best we can balanced. And then yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, you did something right there that I think is really important when it comes to, because you talked about the challenges of coming to acceptance. You've done it several times, our limited knowledge. You're adding a big dose of humility in with your medical training. And I really think that's a key component to everyone doing better, is not just from the medical community, but all of us being humble about the human experience, and therefore garnering another thing you said, hope for the possibility of more than we understand, more than we expect at this moment. We can, through these positive interactions, and I use that intentionally, interactions, not just with ourselves, but with others,
Exactly.
to become more. Does that add up? Am I hearing that right?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, that's how I started, with the Parkinson's Diva, with the women in Parkinson's, because I went through my experience personally, what
Mm.
I was dealing with as a 30-some-year-old woman who was still having a menstrual cycle, who still wanted, to have children and all those issues, to a doctor who was seeing a lot of women and seeing the differences in their presentation and their different prognosis and their own limitations and challenges and so on. And so then took it further to start talking to other women, hey, you're young too. Have you experienced this? Do you see this? And then people started saying, oh, yeah, that happened to me. That happened to me. And so it's like all of a sudden you're building this knowledge. And that's how the word spreads out. And so that's what we have to do. First you kind of have to understand yourself, accept and understand, be an advocate for your own self, but then try to bring it to the community, not just the medical community, but
Right.
also to the community in general, because there may be things that they're suffering with and dealing with that they have not said, oh, it's Parkinson's. Maybe they haven't put it together, and certainly their physicians haven't put it together, and so they're still just in that big black hole of what am I dealing with? I have something, and nobody's doing anything.
Well, and the community too includes one's family too. I mean, I think we see how often, and I think this came up in the movie really well, which we'll link down here, how many times people have difficulty talking to their own family about
Yes.
this, right? They might be better at talking to their support group or their friends with Parkinson's than their own family. And that's such a need. We need to be able to discuss this within our families and interact in order to come to both acceptance and the highest level of care.
It's true. And it's funny you said that because, like I said, I went to medical school because I wanted to be a neurologist, because I wanted to deal with Parkinson's. So I've been talking about Parkinson's my whole life, basically. And so when I developed Parkinson's, I told my family, but they did not hear it. They did not put it together. They were like, she's always talking about Parkinson's. She's always taking care of Parkinson's patients. She's always doing this for Parkinson's. It took them a long time for them to realize. And because every time I saw them, I was always well put together. My symptoms were controlled. They didn't live with me like my husband and my daughter that saw the ups and downs and the challenges and the struggles. They just heard me saying, oh, I don't feel, this, but they're like, oh, she's always talking about Parkinson's. And so it took a long time for them to really realize that, oh my God, you're really struggling. You're really having problems. You have
You
Parkinson's.
can't have
Exactly.
Parkinson's.
You cannot have Parkinson's. Yeah, I really think it was almost 10 years before my family got a hold of I have Parkinson's.
It's so important, and I'm so glad we've opened up this conversation, and we're going to keep going because rebranding Parkinson's is a long journey. And so we need to keep talking about it, keep opening up more. And to that end, I want to invite you. I saw that you signed up for but weren't able to make it to the Christmas movie Heroes
Yes,
during
and
last.
it's so sad. I was like, oh, it's in an hour, and then somebody got me something else, and then I was like, oh my God, I missed. I was so sad.
No worries. We have the next 3 Fridays, and this week's going to be at 12 noon Pacific. And I think
Oh
that's
good.
2 hours difference. So if that
Yeah,
works
two
for
hours. Uh-huh.
invite friends, invite family. This is the thing with that project in particular I bring up. It's so important. What we're doing with that is inviting people in, and Parkinson's may or may not come up at all. This is just the humanizing factor of guess what? We all watch Christmas movies, we all experience Christmas. Let's just do this together and then let's talk about what we see, notice, and feel. And those things can lead to conversations, they can lead to different storytelling. So I so hope you'll be there. Invite
Yeah.
all your friends,
I
family,
love it, and
patients,
I'm a
support
big
people.
movie fan. Like I told you, I just love watching movies, and so
Come
yeah,
on.
so I was really
I hope to
excited.
see you this Friday. That'd be
Yeah,
fantastic. Okay.
thank
So,
you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it,
yeah.
and thank you so much for allowing me to come in this and for what
Uh,
you're doing because we really do need to put the word out there that yes, is not a dead sentence, it's not the end all. And we can live through with this disease. Yes, there's challenges, but it can be done and together because look at us, all these people in the community putting these wonderful movies and stories. Somebody can pick out something and say, oh, that's me in there. So
that's right.
I think that, yeah. So thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome and thank you. We'll do this again. Hopefully, I'll see you on Friday
Yes,
and
sir. Yes, sir. I will make
I'll
sure.
send you the links on this. Share this with whomever you like because you did some
Okay.
great storytelling here that I think
Yes.
people need to hear.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. Send me the link and I'll pass it on. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right.